Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver has released the August numbers. Obviously, probably a little bit disappointing if you've already seen some of these numbers, but here's what I want to do. I want to go back and I want to look at the last 10 years in real estate. What's been going on? How many sales have taken place every year for the last 10 years? And what are we projected to do this year? So I think you'll find this very informative. So as we get started, let's go back, and if we look at the number of sales that has taken place, this is for the whole year. You can see in 2008, we had 25,000 sales. It went up to 36,000, 31,000, 32, 25, 29, 33, 42, 40, and then 36 was last year. Now, if we take these 2 years out, because these 2 years were crazy years where the market was completely out of control. You're operating with 2 months of inventory, multiple offers on everything. You know, buyers were having trouble getting a house because there was 17 offers. That was going on. But if we look at it, you say normally you do between 25 and say upwards of about 36. Well, here's what we got. So far this year, from January to August, we've done 18,000 sales. Now, if I take that 18,000 and let's say I divide it by 8, which is January through August, 8 months, and then I multiply that by 12, that'll give me what we're projected to do on average if everything sort of remains roughly the same, and that would bring us into about 28. I don't think, quite honestly, we're going to get over 30 this year. I would say this could be between 26, and 30, but it might even be a little lower than 28 because the market's starting to shift downward a little bit. Let me show you what I mean. If we look at, say, the historical sales that have, or the prices that have taken place, you can see 2008, we're at 484,000. Of course, it went up, down a little bit. Remember 2012, a bit of a weaker year. Started to climb, and look, we ended up in 2017. Now, 10 years ago, it was 484. 2017, it was $1 million. That's over 100% increase in prices, which means a few people got rich by owning a house, in Vancouver. So anyway, this has been a very strong market. Prices over doubled over 10 years. Now, as of the end of August, it was just over $1 million. Now, I'll be honest, I think that's going to weaken by the end of the year. And let me show you why I think it's going to weaken. Because if you look at this, this was August of 2017. You did 3,000 sales. You had 8,800 listings. You had 2.9 months of inventory. Well, let's look at this year. 1,929 sales, 11,800 listings. We're now at 6.1 months of inventory. Now let's talk about that months of inventory. The months of inventory is going to determine the price because it is basically your supply and your demand. Between 4 and 6 months is sort of a balanced market. Anything below 4 is going to be a seller's market. Anything above 6, it starts to become a buyer's market. So obviously this here was a seller's market. This here is starting to move, still relatively balanced, but it's starting to move towards a buyer's market. But here's what's interesting. If we look at the prices, our prices are still up. But as I said to you before, I suspect this is going to drop over the next little while. So when you're pricing properties, you better be very good with your pricing, because if the market's actually going down a little bit, you got to price right off the bat, or you start chasing the market down. But here's what's interesting. Let's look at what I call micro markets. So if we look at the real estate board, 1,900 sales, just over 11,000 listings, 6.1 months of inventory. I already showed you this. Let's look at detached. 567 sales, 6,200 listings, 11 months of inventory. If you have 11 months of inventory, what's happening with prices of detached properties? They're going down right now. They're weakening. And that will have an effect on your average benchmark price as well. Let's look at apartments, You can see 3.8 months of inventory. Townhouses has got 5.2. So right now, if you look at condominiums, you still got a decent market, if you will. Some of them are probably going up in price a little bit if they're a good location. Maybe location's not as good. It might be a little bit weaker because their months of inventory will be higher. So when I look at this, what you got to be really careful of right now is especially here. So you look at it and you say your average is 6.1. What's going to happen in the fall? I don't know. but I think this might drop down a little bit. But you got to drop down a lot to get back to a balanced market here. So in terms of the market, I look at it and say, you got a lot going on with the market right now. This is your prices. Again, the average price, your detached is 1.5, apartment is 695, townhouse is 846. So in summary, your market has shifted, there's no question. You know, between foreign buyer tax, right, and vacancy tax, and you've got interest rates been bumped up, you've got stress testing. Let's face it, there's been a lot going on this year. But the bottom line is this, there's still some markets that are strong. So maybe what you want to do is focus your attention more over to the markets that are still fairly strong. If you're working in the detached market, and especially if it's a more expensive type of home, then the market's going to be weaker because the higher price you go, the weaker the market's going to become. When you're listing a detached property right now, you need to be sharp with your pricing. You need to be looking at not necessarily what's sold, because chances are what's sold, one that goes to the market now is going to sell for what? Probably less than that, because the market's going down, which means you're better to price your home based on what's for sale, not what is actually sold. Because you look at it, you say, what's sold is history. That was the market then. But what's for sale right now is your competition. And look at this. If you happen to have, okay, say 11 months of inventory, that means 1 out of 11 homes that go to market and detached are going to sell. So guess what? It becomes price and condition, right? You got to make sure the home shows really well and that you're a very attractive price to cause a buyer to be interested in that home. I'm very interested to see what happens the rest of this fall. I suspect it'll start to strengthen a little bit. So don't get into the drama, okay? Don't get all caught up in people talking about the market. All you got to do is you got to go out there, find people that want to buy, find people that want to sell, and help them buy and sell real estate. That's your job. And remember, it's a beautiful life, everybody. Make it count.